Okay. Yeah. 105.
Want an intro? Should I give you an intro? Sure. You have a favorite song? I'll sing you for your night as your intro.
Talk about a lot of things. We talk about the Roman Sarah got married. Sarah was 15 and Rome was 25. And they were married for 50 years. So Sarah is 65 and he's 75. And she doesn't have any children, but if they're going to Eretz Yisrael, Mashana Malkum, Mashana Mazel, they go to Eretz Yisrael, they're there for 10 years, and nothing happens. So Sarah says to Avram, Boina Shivcha Siulai Bonam Bimena. You know what? Here's my Shivcha, Kimei Haga. So Taka says that she spoke to Hagar, she spoke to her Divi Tanchum, and she encouraged her to become a Mary Avram. They asked the Kasha, well, you have to beg her to marry Avram. You know, she left her father's house. She was a princess. She left her father's house because she said, better for me to be a shivcha in Avram's house than be a gevira here in Mitzrayim. So now she's getting the ultimate. She's getting the ultimate, right? She can leave. I mean, she can say she could be Avram's wife. So Chaim Shmulevitz says, has good insight into human emotions. As long as a person can escape, they're okay. Like Hagar knew, as much as she's a shivcha Sarah, she wants to go back to Mitzrayim. She go back to Mitzrayim. But she becomes the wife of Avram. That's it. She's chained forever. That's why she needed that encouragement for Sarah. Chaim Shmulevitz says.
That's based on that when she left, her initial thought was, I'd rather be a shifter here.
Oh.
So obviously, it wasn't exactly completely sincere. That's
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
it's a little bit shifter, not a wife.
You are right.
No, if you wanted to be in Avram's house, it would be even better than, if she didn't go to become a wife. But
Chaim brings a whole line. I'm not going to go into now, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. Okay. Anyway, there's two other ladies in Tanakh that did the same thing. Who were they? Yes? Who?
Isha.
No.
Isha is
Two ladies.
No. We're talking. No.
Yes,
Yishai asked the Shifcha.
she asked the shifter his wife.
No, Yishai asked the Shifcha. Yishai was Perishma's wife to marry the Shifcha. Which Rachel? So Rachel's one of them, right? Rachel came to Yaakov and said, same thing. She gave a Billah and then Taka, she had children. One other lady, that's some affair, she the other lady. But at the beginning of Shmuel Aleph, there's a man named Elkanah, and he's married to a lady named Chana. And they're married for 10 years and she has no children. So Chana came to Elkanah and said, I don't have any children. Maybe I have a good lady for you. I know Lena, she's very good. Marry her, and maybe in that schus, I'll be able to have children. Now you realize that Chana's sacrifice is bigger than Sarah's and Rachel's. Sarah and Rachel said, take my shifra. But they're still going to be the Gevira. They're still going to boss her, right? They're still going to be able to say, I'm the main wife. Here she's giving Elkanah a second wife, same status. She's not, it's more of a sacrifice for her. So anyway, you know what happened? They got married, and Pina had 10 children in rapid succession. And then she starts lording it over Chana, she starts the Chiyasata Tzarasa Gamkas Bahu Harima. She would say to her, let me see your children's wardrobes for the new fall season. She mamish killed her. Yeah. So anyway, they go to the Mishkan. They go to Mishkan Shil. That's why Kana was zeicher to have Shmuel, because every year he went a different way, but more and more people. They go to Mishkan Shil.
Like
Yeah, they say Shil Lishma, right. Anyway, they go to Mishkan Shilai, and Elkanah makes sure to give Chana Mana Achas Apoyim, because he loved it, right? So he says, Chana, Lama Sivki, Velama Yera Lavove, Chalayanechi Tevlach Miasar Ban. So she says, she's upset. So she goes to the Mishkan Shilai, and she davens in the Mishkan Shila, and Eli sees her. By Achshvel, the Shikaira, right? She was Chana rocks for some noise. So Kyle the Shama, she was davening, when she was davening low. Eli thought she was shikar. She said to her, "Hasiri is getting falayach. Give me your wine. I must say tishtakaran. What are you doing here?" She was chayshir her b'ksherim. So what happens? You chaysh b'ksherim. You like a begufay, elim kain berchay. So when he saw that he was wrong and he was chayshir her, he gave her a bracha. Now, although Chana was an akar, she could not physically have children. He gave her a bracha that she should have children. So it says that Chana was very happy and she went on her way. Upaneha lahaya la'ay. Pasuk says she didn't have her face anymore. What does that mean? She didn't have her face. So the Malbim says over there, he says that right away she got back her Eirach Kanashim, so she knew that his bracha was going to be fulfilled. She got her Eirach Kanashim. By the way, she was 130 years old at this time. 130 years old. She was older than Arkan. I mean, we'll see. We'll talk about that soon. We'll see who was older. I'm not so sure, but she was old. Okay. Yeah. So she knew that she was ready to have a child. That's why she was happy. So it says Panela Hayala'id. Now the Malbim says Malbim is not known to be a big Jewish man. He's focused on a Pashup Shah. And then he sticks in, he says, Achazabul Nitzasam Amru, they said in their Melitza, in their Mashal, Melamed Shahaya Panea Kekaif Vinisrapal. Chana had a monkey face, and she got healed. Panela Hayala'id, she got healed from being a monkey face. So first of all, the Malbim Masakasha, she was a maiden wife. You talk about Shem Shemayim, right? Unbelievable, right? So Malbim asked, why Dafka now will she answer? What happened? She was in a car for 19 and a half years. What's up is now this year all of a sudden she got answered. She must have davened hard all the years. What happened now all of a sudden? So the Malbim's asked what happened when Elkanah Elkanah saw she was upset. He said to her, I'm better than you 10 sons. When he said that, he said, listen, Chana, you've been davening for 19 and a half years. You're 130 years old. It's time to give up. But yeah. So it's time to give up. You tried, but look. So till now, the Malbim says, Chana was davening knowing she has Elkanah on her side. Elkanah is davening for her. So she doesn't need to daven so much. She has Elkanah in his chus. Yitzchak and Rivka, or Yasser level, right? But now that he's throwing in the towel, he's saying, okay, that's it. I'm better than 10 sons. Give it up. She said, oh, no, that's only totally me now. I have to do what I have to do. So she gave it all she had, and that's when Hashem answered her. That's a Malbim. So I was thinking, just to answer the second kasha, what's up is now? Why is this important that her face was monkey face and she got healed? Why don't you get healed now all of a sudden? So there's a famous song, daven for me and I'll daven for you. I'm sure you heard the song, right? But where does that come from, that song? What do you have that? Where is that first introduced in Torah?
They go coming across from each other.
Yeah, but it says, what does it say? Avimelech and his wives, they couldn't have children because Avimelech took Sarah. So Hashem told Avimelech, he's a Navi, maybe he'll daven for you. So Avram davened for Avimelech's wives, and then Sarah became expecting with Yitzchak. So we have arrived from here that Avram, even though Avram needed a child, since he davened for Avimelech's wives to have children, he got answered first. So I was once at a convention, 100 guys in the room, and this guy's trying to show us how we don't know Chumash. We're trying to teach Chumash to the masses, and we don't know Chumash ourselves. He says to us, I don't understand. Let's look at the Seder HaPsukim. It says that go to the Makkah, says Navi hold daven for you. So Avram daven for them, and it says that they were healed and they vayeled. Hashem, Hashem, Pakar Asar Kashama. So what's the raya? If you look in the Torah on Parsha Vayera, Akiva's Parsha, you look in the Torah, 147 psukim. You look at the Torah, you'll see that first they got healed and then Sarah was nifkedes. So what's the raya? So the answer was embarrassing. He said because Pakar Asar means, and Hashem had already remembered Sarah. Because otherwise it would say Vayifkod Hashem as Sarah. But Hashem had already remembered Kvar Kaim Lachim. You have the same lashon by Adam, Perk Dal and Beishis. The Ha'adam Yoda Aschave Ishtai. Adam had already known his wife in the biblical sense before. So Cain and Hevel and their sisters were born in Gan Eden. So not didn't say Vayeda Adam Aschave Ishtai. The Ha'adam Yoda is called past perfect. So it happened already. So that's no. It just says it first, but it says Hashem Hashem had already remembered Sarah before this. You have the same thing in Vayera, by the way. It says Hashem Omar Hashem had already said it. Basically, when you put the person before the action, then that's called past perfect. If it says Vayomer Hashem, that's the way you say it. But Hashem Omar had already happened. This time I'm saying that. But anyway, right? Now let's see what we have here. Chana's davening for 19 and a half years. She wants to have a baby. What does she do with the baby? What does she do with the baby?
Not now.
What's that? I'm gonna give it to Hashem. Means I'm gonna nurse the baby for 2 years, and then the rest of his life he goes to Hashem. So she's not davening for herself. She's doing it for quite Shemayim. She wants a world to have a tzaddik. She's not doing it for herself. So the Eibishter said, you've been davening for a baby for 19 and a half years. You never once thought to daven for yourself that you want to change your appearance. It's unbelievable. So what happened? Now that Eli gave you a bracha and you see it was fulfilled, now you're happy. Hashem said, now you're happy because you're getting the ruchnias. I'm going to give you the gashmis. I'm going to cure you from the way you look. I'm going to make you look better again. Because when a person casts away themselves and only worries about ruchnias, Hashem says, I'll take care of you. She needed a fool also. Hashem gave her the fool even before she had the baby. It could be. Yeah. Okay. Now in this week's parsha it says, Vayargas Chanicha Vilide Beisai. I remember when Kedol Omer and his cohorts took light, they put him in a cage, right? They put him in a cage, the Medrash says, and they showed the whole world because Light and Avram looked the same. So they put him in a cage to show the whole world that they captured Avram. Because one of Kedol Omer's guys was who? Was Amrafel Melch Shira, that's Nimrod. So when Nimrod wanted to show everybody, I got Avram. What's Chanicha? So Rashi said, famous Rashi, Huloshan Haschos Knisas Adam, when a person or a kli start doing the thing that they're always going to do. Famous Rashi, and that's what chinuch means, right? And he brings right, right? The famous pasuk in Mishlei, Chanukas Habayis, Chanukas Hamizbeach. You get the Mizbeach ready for the kabbalah that it's going to have forever. So, like we give a mushal, when a baby starts to walk, what happens? The baby starts walking, and the baby falls down. Do we have to tell the baby to get up? The baby gets up on its own, takes another step, falls down, takes another step, until the baby can do it on his own. Chinuch means training a child to do something until he's able to do it on his own. That's what chinuch means. Now, there's this book over here. I don't know if you've ever seen this book. It's called Spare the Child. I discovered it about 3 years ago. It's written in Hebrew. It's called Atechta V'Yeled, but the Hebrew is Hebrew. It's really Israeli Hebrew, very hard to understand. So they translated it to English. If you want to read a book on chinuch, I never read such a good book before. So he talks about what is the definition of chinuch. What does it mean? So the Mesil Sharm brings down the Hagdama. A person was only created to find enjoyment with Hashem. What does that mean? A person is created to find enjoyment in Ruchnius matters. Our job as parents and mechanchim is to get kids to want to have that spiritual connection to Hashem, B, know how to achieve it, and C, do it even when we're not looking. So the muscle, if we have a rule in the school, you got to wear a hat and jacket when you daven. The kid comes to school and he's not wearing the hat. You go over to the kid, where's your hat? I forgot it at home. It happens day after day. Some places, well, they'll give a class to the kid. So tell me, is that going to get the kid to do it on his own? I guarantee you go to the shul where the kid daven on Shabbos, the kid's not wearing a hat, right? You have to do it. The chinuch means to get the child to want to do it on his own. In order to do that, we have to teach him how valuable chinuch is, right? So I'll just tell you. So the machlekes between the Ralbag and the Gra.
Back that phone for a second.
Yeah.
So was it Yorgis Hanicha means that he was teaching them Ruchnias, he was giving them.
No, it calls him Chanich, it's Talmidim. Chanicha bar his Talmidim. You have to be relate Talmidim until the years come up here, right? Chanicha means his Talmidim. And Rashi's saying that chinuch means training a person to do something that he's going to start doing from now for the rest of his life to do it on his own. So, the Machlekes of Bag and the Gra, how to learn this pasuk. Chanech and Alpid Dakai Gam Kiyas Kam Liyasim Mena. The Bag says, if you have a kid, most kids have midas that are not so good. You better break the kid's midas now, because you don't break them now. Gam Kiyas Kam Liyasim Mena is going to be the same schlepper that he was then when he was a kid. He's not going to change. You better change him or else. The Gra says, Chas v'shalom, you can't change a person's midas. You can't change a person. He says, the lashon is, he says, "Techachaneu laseis mitzvahs v'oz gam kishiyaskum liyaser mena." He mechanechem do mitzvahs on his way. Avakasher tavireu al mazole. If you take him away from his mazel, which means doesn't mean his luck, it means his nature. If you try to break the kid's nature, he says, "Ata yishma lach miyurasei." Now, when he's small, he'll listen to you because he's scared of you. Aval achar kach be'es yusar ulach me'al tzavari. When he's old enough, he'll say, okay, I'm out of here, and he'll leave, and that'll be that. So you won't accomplish what you want. But Noach Orlowek is a big mechanech in Eretz Yisrael. He comes here a lot. He once came to the cheder and he spoke to the Rabbeim. He told the Rabbeim that he's, he goes to different schools to watch Rabbeim how they teach. So he went to one cheder in Yerushalayim, and he goes to I think it was a pre-1A class, and the Rebbe was a knackadik Rebbe. It means he knew it cold, he knew everything, he was able to teach. Kids sat in their seats like little soldatim, little soldiers. He was very impressed with Rebbe Olek. So when the kids at recess, he said to the Rebbe, how many years are you teaching? He says, I'm teaching 20 years. He said, what's your secret? The kids are mamish wow. He says, I'll tell you the truth, I hate kids. Can't stand kids. But you know what? I need the money. I need parnasa. So I had to figure out a way to get the kids to do what I wanted, so I shouldn't have a hard time. So what's the secret? He takes them outside and he shows them about 100 feet from the room. By the way, when he said the story to us, he said, I can't tell you what happened. What happened? So he saw the Rebbe teach, and he spoke to him, and then he went to the Mal's office and said, fire that Rebbe. Get rid of that Rebbe. So we said, what happened? I can't tell you, it's too painful. So after Rabbi Amla, I said, well, come on. So I pushed him and he told me. So he told me, the Rebbe told him, took him outside and showed him a shed. In Israel, how do you say a shed in Israel? Machsan, right? So I could say it in English and I'll say it in Hebrew. So he took him outside and said, you see that shed over there? The first day of every year, I take my class outside and I point to the shed. And I tell them, that's the shed of the shaden. Any boy who misbehaves, I take to that shed and the shaden are going to strangle him. Or if you want to say it in Hebrew, I wrote it down. It's the machsan of the miflatzim. Miflatzot. So miflatzot. Monsters. Right? Okay? Either one. Yeah. So he says, so in 20 years, I haven't had a problem. One time he said, I had to take a kid halfway. And the kid ran back and never opened his mouth again in the class.
The kids ready. 7 years later, 10 years later, call them out on it?
No, what do you mean? They didn't know. What do you mean? What do you mean?
I would, when I'm in grade 6, go check
Yeah,
it
you
out.
was fine. Okay. So anyway, so that was so that Rebbe again. We could get the whole discussion about this. I can just tell you that right before COVID, I went to a shalom of my son-in-law had a baby, and I was sitting next to a guy who I know for a long time here in Toronto. Guy was older than me, and I was asking him, "Tell me about your elementary years." And he got red in the face, and he says, "My rebbeim were reitzchem. They hit us. They were mavayish us." We all know what as kids, what we went through. We had some rebbeim, maybe that we shouldn't have been rebbeim, whatever. But the point is, the Gross says, "Chanechana al pidarka." You can't bring a kid to test. You got to work with a kid. So at the end of the parsha, it says, "Vayikach Avram es Shmuel b'nai, es kol yidei veisai, es kol mitzvos kaspai, vayomo es b'sar alasim etzleim amzeh kasher diber veisai alekim." Diber said. I think it's Diber, yeah. So the question is, so Achaim has two cuts. First of all, why does it have a Yikach? Why do we take Shmuel? What do we take? Just say Vayomo es Shmuel. Second of all, what's Asher Diber Yisrael Alekim? Well, what's that? Hashem commanded him. Why does it have to say that again for? Dr. Chaim, whenever it says Vayikach in the Torah, what does it say? It's Vorm. It's Vorm. He took Yishmael he gave him encouragement. What's Asher Diber Yisrael Alekim? The Chaim says that was a tzivah from Hashem. Take your Shmuel with soft words. That's part of the mitzvah. Sure. When you take your Shmuel and you encourage him, that's part of the mitzvah that I want you to do the Milah. Do it that way. So we see Klor from the Archaim, he's on like the Torah, that the way to get a child is to encourage him and not break his nature. Now, just by the way, just going back to O'Connor for a minute, tell you a crazy thing. In the Gemara Bracha Samachal, the Gemara talks about Monech was an Amoritz because Vayelech Monech Achar Ishtai. He walked behind his wife, and you're not supposed to walk behind a lady, right? And the Gemara brings down a pasuk because it says Vayelech Halkana El Beisai. Vayelech Halkana El Beisai. So Taishus on the side, we're not going with this whole thing because there's no pasuk Vayelech Halkana El Beisai. It doesn't make any sense. So the Mashal on the back, the Chacham Shleimer in the back, has a whole arichas. I have it here, and he says he comes out at the end. According to the Radak, when did the Tzorah Pelegish Begiva happen? It's at the end of Sefer Shoftim. The some Rishonim learned that it happened at the beginning, but according to the Radak, that it happened at the end. He says that the Levi, the story of Pelegish Begiva, right? He went. He had a fight with his Pelegish, so she went to her father. He went to make up with her, and she said fine, but the Shver kept on telling him, stay on, don't leave, and it took 3 or 4 days. Finally, he left, and it was late afternoon. He got to a place called Givim Binyamin. They were like staying, and they wouldn't let him in, and the whole thing. The kids of Ma'aseh, they killed his wife, so he took his wife's body, chopped it up in 12 pieces, sent each piece to another Shevet. They made war against Binyamin, and they killed out the whole Binyamin. So he says, Marshal, that the Levi in that story was Elkanah. Elkanah was a Levi in that story. Elkanah was the one who was married to his Pelegish, and he's the one that he has a whole bunch of riots. I just want to end off. I want to pass this around here. I want to pass this around. No, it's at the end of Sefer Shoftim, right? And
Shmuel comes next.
Yeah. He says, according to that, it could be. Huh?
Started a civil war.
Yeah, but that was a comment. Yeah. The play out that's what he says. So I just sent him on this thing. This is a question that I got a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 wives.
That's right. So he said, how long? He might have been older than Khan, I don't know. So the question was, at every Benes Man we have a learning program, and we give kids prizes. Should we give? They want drones or they want sports equipment? Another Rebbe said it's a learning thing. We should give Svarim. Who's right? What? Yeah, because kids don't want Svarim. So should we give the drones or should we give the Svarim? That was a question. So it was in this week's Yited. So there's like 11 panelists. 10 out of 11 said You can give the drone, you can give the thing, it doesn't matter, whatever. The kids really want the drones. So I wrote, if you want to give drones, you can give drones, but you should include Sforum as it's a learning program. But I challenged the whole premise of giving prizes. I challenged the whole thing. Why are you giving prizes? Because you want the kids to learn, right? What happens if you don't give the prizes? Not going to show up. What's chinuch? What is chinuch? Right now, if you give a prize, or you threaten, or you punish, that's control. You're controlling the kid to do what you want, but that's not going to get the kid to do it on his own. When you give a prize and you follow it up with a whole chinuch measure, he calls it, then the kid may listen to you. But if you're giving the kid drones or whatever you're giving when he's 11 or 12 years old, what's going to happen when he's 15? He's going to want who knows what. Like you see over here, you see this card over here. This was given out at Sukkot time. So look at this. Sukkot experience. What do you see here? Come on, even with your poor eyesight, what do you see here? What does it say? Grand raffle prizes, super high, flying high. You can get a helicopter ride if you win, right? The learning is the fine print on the bottom. But what you see is, if you come to learn, you're going to get prizes. That is not going to help the kid one day learn on his own. Remember what chinuch is doing actions that will help the child do it on his own. Giving a kid prize is not going to, again, you'll have a beautiful base medrash full of kids learning, but it's not going to help the kids who want to learn on their own. Oh, I get that question every time. I even bevorned it. I even bevorned it in the answer. You can't say B'tesh Shlosh B'Shal. Why? I'll tell you an example. You should know that there's a program now that you can take a test online, Chumash Rashi, every week. I don't know if you've seen it. 16 questions. It's very good. You have to learn the parsha with Chumash Rashi, and then Motzei Shabbos you take a test. So I started doing it last year, Bereshis. I went through the whole Chamisha Chumshe Torah, and the incentive is if you get over an 80 average, you get $100 per sefer. Okay, not bad. Now, honestly, $500 is not going to break the bank, but I'll tell you that for me, the incentive is that I take the test, and I want to do well. So it pushes me to be Marvis on Shabbos. Otherwise, I'd be behind or whatever. So that's B'tesh Shalei Lishma Bo Lishma. I have my eye on the Lishma, but I need the Shalei Lishma to help me get to the Lishma. When a kid is 11 years old, he does not have his eye on Lishma. He's not thinking about learning Torah Lishma. He's coming to learn because he wants the prize. Haraya, if you would say, you know what, this year we're not giving prizes, you'd have an empty base medrash. So what are we doing?
And at the same time, the Shalai Lishma, when he gets into that, got him here. Now he's listening to the Torah and he's enjoying the stories and the Mishnah and the Gemara. You know, so that can do.
Want to put in that, yeah.
So you got him to learn by bribing him.
But now I'm without that, you know, now
Yes,
I'm
you're right,
enjoying
you're
it.
right. So again, that's what he says. He says when you give a prize, that's for now. When you do chinuch, that's l'dairis. So I grant you that for now, you're doing something for the kid, but you're not helping him for the future at all.
And I hear.
And even though you say, "Oh wow," but he came to know when he was younger, so remember learning the Cholamayit? No,
It's easier said than done. With
Back up, so
trying to
you
get-
learned- I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just trying to say it's easier said than done. Where you gotta teach him to do it on. Let's go back to
Oh.
the hat story. You know, where the
How
fellow
do you-
didn't bring his hat, and okay, a knas. Okay, maybe it's not the thing, but now what's gonna get him to love to put on a hat?
let me tell you a story with the hat. Tell you a story with the hat. My first year here, a kid didn't bring his hat. So I called the kid and I said, "What's going on?" He says, I can't find my hat." I said, "Come on, tell me what's going on." He starts crying and he says to me, when he was bar mitzvah, he went to the hat store and his father bought him, "I'm buying you a hat." He said, we're supposed to get two hats, one for weekday, one for Shabbos. He says, no. In our family, we only get one hat. When I was bar mitzvah, I only got one hat. But you know what? He says, if you want two hats, I still have my bar mitzvah hat. I'll give you that hat. You can wear that hat for weekday. Which tells his father the kid didn't want to wear the hat. And the kid thought of every excuse in the world not to wear the hat. I called the hat store and I said, do me a favor. Guy's gonna come in, just give him a hat. I'll take care of it later with you. I called the father and I said, you know, the hat store just called me. Someone ordered a hat, but he's not taking it. You can get it for $20. The guy went and bought the hat. The kid never showed up again without his hat. He was so happy.
You didn't do chinuch then on the father. The
I did.
father
I
choose
did. I didn't do it. You're right. You can't always do chinuch.
Before you, before the book.
Before the book. Well, you can't always do chinuch. You can't always do it. But you have to know, is this chinuch or not? Again, Rabbi Levine, when I get the kids and the base measure is full and I'm talking about all the things I'm giving away, it's beautiful that we have a full base medrash. But that is not chinuch. That is bribing kids to learn. And yes, you're going to get a beautiful kol. But the kids are not going to want to learn on their own because they did this. Why can't we change everything and say, why can't we give a whole speech? No, we had a program here in Aguda. So we had every year we do it. The kids come downstairs. Okay, we loan them for an hour. We give them a shtucker prize from the dollar store, and that's it. We don't make a big deal about it.
Have raffles.
Why does it have to say this? Win big. Why can't it say, if you come to learn Beit Azman, you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? The Shemaim is going to be Mapecha. The Malachim are going to be sick. Why can't we do that?
Tell me what Abraham told you. This kid.
Ashrecha, that you're going to have a bris milah, you're going to enter a bris with Hashem. You're not going to be like Goyim. He did it, right? It worked. He didn't give him a drone. He didn't give him a helicopter ride. He did it. He didn't give him a helicopter ride, and he did it.
Look what Yishmael did to Yitzchak.
So you brought them here downstairs, and so what did you do different? Or
I didn't say anything about the prize. We learned. They had a geschmacka time. We gave him a little prize. Come back tomorrow.
Nice raffle.
so you're
They had a
saying,
bike raffle. Had a bike raffle.
Why do you have to do that?
You're right, Nechanami. You're right.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go slow. But I'm saying, we have to rethink what we're doing. We have to rethink it. You should know that we in the Cheder, we really started slimming down the prices. I still do a thing every month because it's schmack and whatever, but we don't tell kids anymore, if you learn well, we're going to give you a prize. I'll tell you what we say. You learn well, here you go. That's what you want to give a prize, that's what you do.
Learned well.
You learn well, here you go. Not, I learned for the prize. I learned well because I learned well. Here's a prize. I want to give you a clip and beckle to show you why I approve. Much different.
appreciation, not incentive.
Right? Exactly. And that's what's going to get a kid to do it again because, he feels like you appreciated what he did. And the kid won't need the prize to do it again. So what we need to do is we need to minimize the prizes. I'll just tell you a story very quickly. Time's running out. There was a Rebbe that was speaking to his class, and they have Tillim groups from Shabbos. They say Tillim, right? Remember that? Yeah. Right. So he was speaking to the kids. He says, "Do you go to the Tillim?" He says, "No, I don't go anymore. Why not? Because they give out junky Rebbe cards." He says, "Because what the kids in the next shchuna there, they get better Rebbe cards. So I'm not going anymore." See, his class came back from BC. He says, "How many boys go to the thing? Barely anybody raise their hand." And he said, "Why?" He said, "Because they don't get to give lousy nash. They don't get to give junky Rebbe cards. We're not going anymore." He was shocked. His wife taught. So he asked his wife to ask the girls, do they go to their Tillim groups? 21 out of 24 girls said they go. So what's going on over here? There's too much of an anomaly here. So he decided he's going to investigate. He went to visit both groups that Shabbos. The boys group, the kids came in. The leader of the group said, "And you know, we have this, we have a glida, we have this, and we have that way." He went on and on and on what they're giving. And then they said, "Tell them," and then they got their prizes. He went to the girls group. They said, "Tell them," and they said, "You know what? We're saying tell them. We're saying it for the chayalim. We're saying it for this sick person." And last week he said, "Tell them for this person. They got better. You don't know what you're doing. You're spending your Shabbos, Shabbos hayom." That's the whole thing they said. At the end of the program, they gave out nash. The leader didn't give it out. She gave it to another girl to give out. She said, "Just to keep the Yetzer Hara away, we want you to come back next week." That was the whole thing. So when they asked the girls, "Why are you coming?" The girls said, "We're coming to say Tillim for the people who need our tefillas." But when they asked the boys, "Why are you saying Tillim?" They said, "We don't know, because we want to get a glida." So it all depends how you present it to the kids. I'll tell you something else. If you continue this way of giving the kids prizes and incentives, every year we got to up the ante, right? Pretty soon, who knows? I remember that a few years ago, a few years ago they started this thing called Liquid Shabbos. Remember Hilchos Shabbos?
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful idea, right? Yeah, I disagree with the premise of learning Hilchos Shabbos. I think they should learn Navi. That's my personal thing. I think it's interesting. You tell a kid, I'll teach you about Geizes. Come on. You know, like, maybe it's interesting, but it'd be more interesting to do that. But never mind. So the kid came. If you showed up every single week of the 15 weeks they did it, you got a shas. Finish line. You got a shas for showing up, right? You have to learn 1,000 Mishnayos to get a shas when I was a kid, right? Well, you just get a shas. So I'm just saying, I know we're fighting a losing battle. I know this is the way we do it. And I just want to say, by the way, that I used to be king prize. I used to give a prize for every little thing. I used to give kids prizes left and right. And I realized, what am I doing? I'm not getting the kids to want to learn on their own. I'm not being mechanic them.
Telling those kids that you used to give prizes are not learning now, Lishma, percentage of them are not. And then it's not
Yeah,
necessarily. about
again,
them,
I always say, I was telling Bam, most kids, when do they get turned on to learning? When they're teenagers, right? So, what are we doing here? Like, we have a whole elementary school for what? Anyway, the kid's not going to get involved until he's 16, 17. The Torah says you got to give him a geschmack. You got to teach him the skills. You got to teach him how to learn. And you hope that the kid starts to learn. But again, I'm not saying that the kid won't eventually do it, but we're not being mechanech. This is not chinuch. This is making ourselves feel good that we have a full base medrash on Motzei Shabbos. That's what we're doing. Why can't we minimize the prizes? Why can't we make a geschmack that the kids are coming to learn? Same thing.
Yeah,
How do you think, which one saying, should we eliminate Kiddush on davening after Shabbos or not Kiddush? Bro, this is holy grail.
The recent hat, the guy doesn't want to wear a hat and jacket.
Coleman, you told him, you show him halacha, he can the class of the kach, you're supposed to dress up before Hashem. You tell him Bachanai, Mishal, Vazaya, who got thrown to the Kiddush Nation, they insisted on wearing their hats and their clothing. It was Yom Kippur, and they wanted to go in because they wanted to go Malbush Noah before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's the kid going to say? I don't want to listen. Do it. They have they listen. But to threaten the kid and to give him a knas, who pays the knas nowadays? Parents. Right? What do you gain? Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you.
I know you're not. I know it's today.
A little bit early.
Today?
No, you know what it is. It's a little early, but it's okay. Next week we'll make it.
October 23rd. October 23rd.
Yeah.
What's the
It's
design?
the same day this year because of the Shabbos.
Take a picture. Take a picture of it. And Miriam sells it. It's a little expensive. It's kedai to buy the book.
I remember the books, they're gone.
The kid who was
They're
collecting.
gone enough.
Is it called the Hebrew? Rebbe
Has to be else. I have it. I have it.
My Rebbe gave a class out for coming later, something like that, and he used to go around collecting because Rebbe gave it to Tzaradas. The guy would go collecting the chakras.
Thank you so much. We'll give you a share.
Miller, Victor Miller was Mashgiach Chaim Berlin. He used to stand by the entrance. And the guy come late, He said that'll be 25 cents, gentlemen. Like So what would happen nowadays? So nowadays, the kid would give the Mashgiach $10. Like I'm good for the next 5.
Right.
Here you go. Man.
$5 coming through this month.
That's it.
My son told me this week, like the class is getting ready for the fines. He asked me to write the class made up everyone together. And ask the parents to write a check of $1 for the fine. He came to me to write a check $1 to give to the Rebbe.
So what's the name
I
of
told
the
him, why
day?
giving a check? Go collect the 100 pennies, give it to the
Although
Rebbe.
you're not supposed to do it, I'm not supposed to do it, so I think it's called- I'm doing it because I want to connect Hashem.
What does that mean? Gets half my first book. What does that mean? What does that mean?
What does that mean? We get started?
Yeah.
That means either he'll give me opportunity for more.
There's a lot of
kids.
kids today, like, look at the parents. Yeah, it's like, they go on vacation, they're going.
According to the Balatanya, his name is Ziv. Tzamei Hashem, name is Ziv.
At home, they don't see it.
What you do, you're gonna get more.
Correct.
That's what we want.
Right.
That's the Son of God. See, people don't realize, it gets hard. Don't be like a bum, right? What's a pras though? Pras is ruchnius.
Right.
That's okay to get ruchnius pras.
Give me another opportunity.
But it's
It's,
not
it's a-
okay to get a helicopter. It's not okay.
Parents, the kids have to be in that level of appreciating a roof in his price. That's the thing. Today, a lot of kids, they don't care.
they're a little bit jaded.
It's the parents.
They're
No,
jaded.
Back to the parents. But again, how many parents you could expect today to give the kid this outlook of ruchnius? Like my goal is ruchnius. I really want to do everything from Shamayim. Today, parents are going on vacations, fancy cars.
I wanna ask you a question.
See the home.
You know what's going on today with Suda Shabbos?
Oh,
You know what's going on?
the pomegranate in my eyes fell out of there.
Stand. So I have a thing.
And I went into a
I give the
supermarket.
kids a mitzvah class, how to behave with animals.
Just listen to
And what happens is, so the kids who live in Thorn Hill want to come down south. Whole thing, how do you behave if you go to someone's house? I asked the kid, what are you gonna do if you come to someone's house? You don't stay by the suit, he does. And I get the kids to tell me how long they stay by the suit. He makes, they go for kiddush and they go for adventure. They're not by the suit. They don't see mirrors. Hear about the retire. They don't see mirrors. They don't speak to their parents. They don't sit. They leave the table.
Like they don't have phones. They'll be on the phone the whole meeting.
By the way, this is the best house. We're not talking about, ice phone, we're talking about the best house.
I think part of it, I don't know if it's related or not, but part of it is because on Friday, you're eating all the food that is supposed to be served Shabbos. How Kugel and Chon, you get away from Shabbos and. So, man.
By the way, the whole time. I don't have-
Have a restaurant there.
I know I sound like a dinosaur. I know that. Right? I'm like, I lost touch already, right? Believe me, I'm there and I see it, and I'm telling you, we're headed up a long path. We're not doing this to kids. What happens, kids are becoming disenfranchised, they're not connected. Because they're not doing it. Everything will help.
That thing where you said about Teva Midoisa, not that I want to bring it, but all the time says that that's really not like change Midoisa about Tibiois and Teva Midoisa. Anything that you come by naturally, it's no big deal.
So you have to change
No,
the
if
goods.
you are naturally good, what did you accomplish? First Baruch gave you that. You learned 100 times, everybody learned 100 times. 101 is avoided, that's what's expected of you. So there has to be some kind of break of.
The Gross says, what Gross is about double about. Double is one of the models. So it was a simple down. He says there's three things you can do. You can be a treasure, Mila, or Mitzvah. So double on Moloch, they pushed it. Thomas Mitzvah. Right. But he says, you don't say you're a killer, you can't be a killer. You don't do that. You channel it. Right. And he says, David, the course is Yuma, show David Ba'achas, show Ba'achas, but also like David Stein also. David sinned twice and he took out the Bucha, show sin once he didn't get it. Essentially, David worked on himself, but he wasn't broken. He did it on his own. He did it with himself. Right. You can't make a kid's tab. You make a kid's tab, you're finished. You can take a kid's tab, you can channel it.
Right, it's not meant to change, just the massage of it. But I'm with you with the package. We gave out Pekalach here, and then Bob, if you see the stimulus package that they provide also, it's everything. There's no.
You think that's bad? You know, my kids tell my kids will like the first. You don't understand the kiddush. You don't understand. In some schools, the kiddush costs $100,000. Wow. I said, what do they serve on shulchan and the shulchan? What do they do?
Shechting the cows, like
Every
Shlomo Melech.
delectable delight that you could think of was there. It's unbelievable. It's a fun generation. Yeah. But it starts from right now when the kids are.
$100,000 in labor gets you a lot more than that.
So wait, a mini wedding. Oh, it's crazy.
Short call wants to like the food and stuff. Yeah. We want to think I like Polish food. So Musafi calls me from Gourmet Glass. Okay, I'm there now. What do you want? Which flavor do you want? So you only got Carl. It's just 50.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Okay. I don't want to go to, but then you brought them up. Historical economy.
I thought you were gonna go straight to Yiddish. Eliezer. The story of different approach. Because right now, he was the Irish, there's truth to that. He was the Irish. You know, the stories that they say, go to the record, says, I cannot do it. But so it says that. Eliezer and Fuchsia, you go find the word. The Mashi of Eliezer, it's what? Fuchsia one set to this, right beyond. Not to rock, but to fight.
Shkoyach, guys, thank you so much for staying. Shkoyach. No, they don't. He wanted to go. That's what he wanted to go. Yeah, that's what he wanted at that time. But you're right now. I like this idea. I think this will be this whatever. I think it's right. Appreciation. You said that, right? That's a big thing. I think so. Not to make that. Correct. Correct. You're absolutely. It has to stick with the thing. You're right. You're right. Okay. Shkoyach.
Yeah.